am pleased to begin my presentation. The content of my presentation is Directions for Inquiry-Based Teaching in China's New Educational Era. Education in the People's Republic of China has changed dramatically over the last few years. 6 years after the first National Unified Curriculum Standards were published in 2011, a major reform of university entrance examinations and a revision of upper secondary school curriculum standards took place in 2017, and in 2022, the curriculum standards for compulsory education were also revised. These revisions had one strong objective to educate the whole person and develop key competencies. In the 2017 University Examination Overview, in addition to insisting on overall stability, and promoting reform and innovation, and striving to openly and improve the quality of examination content, reflecting the direction of literacy planning, are emphasized. In order to move from conventional education to a holistic education, the curriculum standards for upper secondary schools promote literacy education in its entirety and a new, inquiry-based, thinking-based education appropriate for university entrance examinations, emphasizing the ideological, scientific, systematic, adaptive and operative nature of the curriculum standards, and advocating an independent inquiry-based learning method for students. Traditional Chinese education was a crammed education system of one blackboard, one book, one piece of chalk and one mouse. The new courses of study called for a transformation from such passive, mechanical and accepting education to a self-directed, exploratory and collaborative learning method for students. Inquiry-based education is an educational method that places the greatest importance on student autonomy. Inquiry-based education is an education that fosters the ability to learn and think for oneself, which together with traditional Chinese acquisition-based learning, requires comprehensive development. This is a learning method in which students collect information on a given task, organize and analyze the information, and summary and present their conclusions on their own initiative, thereby developing the thinking, decision-making and expressive skills necessary for solving the task. Information gathering involves not only the use of teaching materials in literature, but also fieldwork observation and experiments. The need for inquiry-based education was first mentioned in 2001, and only after about 15 years has it finally begun to be emphasized. Many schools are now striving to implement inquiry-based education, and in fact significant changes can be seen in science classes. However, China is still in the exploratory stage of exploring educational methods that are the complete opposite of conventional education. In this article, we focus on the problems of inquiry-based education in China and aim to solve them. The experimental method is to collect and organize the official documents issued by the government and other relevant studies on inquiry-based education, and summary the implementation methods of inquiry-based education in China. The direction and problems of China's inquiry-based education in science education are discussed, referring to the inquiry-based education recommended by the People's Education Press. Although most teachers are favorable to inquiry-based education, many problems exist in its actual operation. The reasons include lack of teachers' expertise, lack of importance given to science teaching, lack of teaching resources and irrational distribution of resources, and inappropriate teaching methods of teachers. There are also problems such as the still high importance given to retesting education and the lack of importance given to science teaching by schools teachers, parents and students. More in-depth research is needed on how the concrete operation of inquiry-based education can be disseminated. In China, Inquiry-based education has gradually spread since the 2001 education reform. Since then, teachers have been asking students for feedback such as, "What do you think of this problem?" and other feedback from students, while giving students time to think for themselves before proceeding with the lesson. However, according to a survey of high school 2021 junior high school students, 65% of students believe that teachers are the main actors in the teaching process. In addition, only less than 30% of students speak up in class. The teaching method based on interaction between teachers and students would result in students with very different degrees of class participation. Other problems include the lack of interaction between students and the fact that some students do not even listen to the classes. As mentioned in the background, inquiry-based education includes independent inquiry classes and experimental observation classes as well as group work. However, looking at the actual content of the classes, most of them, although they are inquiry-based education, are observation classes. The teacher conducts a demonstration experiment in front of the classroom, and the students record the results of the experiment. The reasons for this are that group work requires time and effort to maintain the classroom atmosphere, and experimental classes require time and effort for preparation. Other problems include the fact that in most classes, students are not able to conduct independent exploration and can only think about the answers to the questions given by the teacher. These indicate that the teachers only use a form of inquiry-based education in the teaching process and do not go into inquiry activities. As mentioned above, students should be the main actors in the educational activity course of inquiry-based education, in which they pose and solve problems. Many researchers believe that students' own exploration of problems leads to their development. In reality, however, very few questions are asked by students. There are several reasons for this. When students are asked questions, the direction of the problem inquiry is disrupted, and it is easy for them to drift away from the class objectives. They do not raise the thought questions of the teacher. They are stirred up by the naughty students. They raise questions that the teacher cannot answer, etc. 3 main reasons for these problems may exist. Firstly, many teachers are tied up with the teaching of the examinations. This can be seen in problem EE, for reasons such as teachers' inability to raise thought questions. This is because inquiry-based education is originally a student-centered education, and not an education that develops only the lessons that teachers want. Another reason is that science teaching is not emphasized, and there are few classroom resources available for science teaching. Finally, many Chinese teachers have been employed after graduating from university. Lack of expertise in their own teaching field makes it difficult for them to teach content that is far from the textbooks. By knowing how to conduct inquiry-based education, rather than response-based education, they may be able to adapt to inquiry-based education as much as possible. As an example of inquiry-based education, we refer to the lessons related to the study of organic compounds in chemistry proposed by Zhu, 2017. Inquiry activities such as those in the table below could be implemented. The lessons in the table integrate education on scientific inquiry awareness and methods for students. The aim is to obtain the exact structure of organic compounds by analytical reasoning from the facts obtained by experimentation and the data obtained by measurement on the basis of the knowledge acquired by the students. Many people in China say that high school is only a springboard to university. However, in view of university entrance examinations, The importance of inquiry-based education has increased significantly since the educational reform. In recent years, the questions related to inquiry in university entrance examinations have changed significantly. In the three subjects of physics, chemistry, and biology, the number of major questions and experiments has increased entirely. And the content of these questions is not just about giving material on the content of the experiment and answering questions based on reading and understanding the material, but also about the basic operation and application of laboratory equipment, experimental principles, relationships between equipment, interpretation of phenomena, experimental design and evaluation of results, and other questions not directly related to the experiment. Many of the questions were not directly related to the experiments. In addition, high-stakes questions in which students have to use their existing knowledge to deduce problems related to content they have not yet studied in science subjects including mathematics, have started to appear. The new university entrance examinations require a high level of thinking and judgment, as well as knowledge. Therefore, in future education, it is important to teach students how to think and how to combine appropriate knowledge for deeper exploration. And it is important to aim at improving students' creative awareness by teaching them to explore rather than teach exploration so that they will eventually explore. The new curriculum standards emphasize the teaching of students' scientific inquiry skills. The methods used in carrying out scientific inquiry can be divided into three categories. 1. Specialized methods within disciplines, such as isotope labeling and tracking methods in biological research, cell organelle isolation methods and dissection methods, and 2. Scientific research methods, which are common methods generally used from the study of natural sciences such as physics, chemistry, and biology, that can be applied to all natural science research. 3. The most common philosophical methods applicable to the natural, social and thinking sciences, such as the materialist dialectic and contradiction analysis. There are two areas of methods used in scientific research: methods of acquiring empirical material and methods of rational thinking, as shown in Fig. The content of scientific research methods is widely distributed in the compulsory units of each subject, and different methods are emphasized in different units to train students' scientific inquiry skills in a more systematic way. Taking the high school biology teaching materials of People's Education Press as an example, the compulsory 1 molecules and cell synthesis is the observation induction method, the compulsory 2 heredity and evolution the tentative deduction method, and the optional compulsory 1 homeostasis and regulation the systematic analysis method. In terms of specific research method systems, compulsory 1 focuses on observation and experimental methods, compulsory 2 on deductive reasoning methods, and optional compulsory 1 on survey methods and mathematical modeling. By having students learn the research methods and ideas mentioned above, it is possible to provide them with a direction for independent inquiry. The inquiry-based columns in each textbook can be used for this purpose. The People's Education Press biological teaching materials are said to contain about 33 of the total exploration content, such as experiments, exploration, model building, extracurricular production, investigation, extracurricular practice skills training, data collection and analysis, and thinking and discussion. Classes in which students study the necessary knowledge as preparatory work, and then conduct inquiry-based learning under the guidance of teachers at school, are considered to be highly self-directed and easy for teachers to implement. Inquiry-based education takes more time than cramming education, and it is difficult to control the learning status of each student. so it is undeniable that the expected class effects may not be achieved. Therefore, in the future, it is important for researchers and teachers to work together to design an implementation plan for specific inquiry-based teaching and assessment criteria for each unit, fully follow the course standards and systematically assess students' development in order to find a suitable inquiry-based teaching for Chinese students. This concludes the presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.